Yeah, so I've been in LHS for 20 years, and if you go back and you look at our enrollment numbers, and of course, enrollment numbers are numbers that change on the flow, but our data team tends to, I think, report them at certain times of year to the state, like October the 1st is an important date. So you can go back and look at October the 1st for the last 20 or 30 years. And when I first came to the high school as a teacher, we were in the high 1800s or low 1800s in terms of students. And we didn't have tents for students to eat outside. We didn't have to put tables in the hallway at lunchtime for students. When the weather is nice, students eat outside, and I think that's lovely. It's actually helped for students to feel refreshed, re-energized. I think one of the things we learned from the pandemic was that going outside and being outside can be restorative for people. So that's lovely, but we live in New England, and so pretty much between the middle of November until about late March, it's not an option for us right now. And so students are packed in tighter in our lunchrooms, and we do have to set up tables in the hallways during lunchtime, which has the effect of kids eating in hallways, not ideal, and also bringing food trash to places we don't want it to bring food trash to those places, and then further narrowing a hallway that's already hard to get through, right? So we've had to take other mitigation measures in the past where we've had to take spaces away from our physical education department for students to eat. We've sort of managed this year to only have it affect our hallways, but that's a diminishment of our academic program just so we can get kids lunch. The other ways in which it's been a challenge, when I first came to Lexington High School, there were a lot of empty classrooms where if you wanted to have a meeting or work with a student one-on-one or have a sort of small group exercise, you could do so. 97 to 98% utilization means that in most given blocks, as you walk around our school, you're not going to find an empty or free classroom. So that makes it more challenging for adults to meet and do collaborative work together. And it also makes it more difficult to do some of the special things we have to do around the school. AP testing season, we run a lot of AP classes, and it is a major, major challenge to find the classrooms that we need to test for AP or MCAS testing. Standardized testing in particular is a challenge because it's not a one-for-one in terms of classroom loss. It's not just because AP US History isn't meeting today that there'll be an equal number of classrooms. There are specialized needs for testing, and it often means that we're exceeding that 100% maximum use of our spaces, and therefore things are getting canceled that we don't want to have canceled in the service of getting AP testing done or MCAS testing done. And just the feel of the school. Frankly, the feel of the school has, 100 students over your maximum capacity, you don't really notice it. I think people really started noticing it when we went over the 2,000 mark. And now that we're at 2,400, you can't help but notice it at certain times during the school day. People are bumping into each other, stepping over each other. And that's not healthy. It's not healthy for just physical health. Like I'm sure, doctors would tell you, like it's hard to have good clean air and those types of things when you're so overcrowded. But it's also just that thing. Imagine yourself in any space. You go on a family vacation, you go somewhere and the hotel room is too small or whatever, and you're on top of each other. Well, what does it lead to? It leads to conflict, aggravation, people feeling like they're at their wits' end. And so that has a psychological and a social emotional effect too, of just sort of feeling cramped all the time. There was a reporter from the student paper, The Musket, yesterday who interviewed me for 45 minutes alone on the idea of, does this school work particularly well for students with physical disabilities? And it doesn't. I mean, that's the reality when it's built to the code of largely the 1950s and 60s, then it's not built to the most modern code in terms of people who have physical disabilities. And so we had a long conversation about the way that we try and retrofit spaces to meet those needs, but how when you design them up front, it's completely different. I'll give you another example. If we have students who have disabilities in terms of hearing, auditory disabilities, we do not have every classroom at our high school equipped to meet that need. So we have to move the student to the class rather than the other way around, which can be a real challenge if a student moves in, transfers from another school system. We've got to upend things as they are. I think we all know that an ideal system for our master scheduler would be classroom that is designed for universally for students to learn in, no matter what their disabilities might be. Absolute top priority are core spaces built for closer to the enrollment that we have. So, core spaces, you're talking about your physical education spaces, your commons, your cafeteria, your auditorium, or performing arts spaces. Those need to be brought up to alignment with our enrollment numbers, and probably even with some eye towards the future if enrollment grows. So that is a major priority. Universally designed and properly sized classrooms are an absolute must. That is the core function of a school, and we need to be providing that for students. And then I think my third priority are those flexible shared spaces, and that which is a major priority for me. I want the design of the school to foster a greater sense of the school as a community, which is an incredible challenge for 2,420 students or even more. It's always easier to foster a sense of community when everyone knows each other and when a place is smaller. So if we can design a school that encourages people to meet together in the hallway and wave at one another and, oh, like, I'm not holding the entire traffic of the school up right now to step over here at this, modular furniture and have a conversation with you and catch up about life or school or those types of things. I think that could be great. So those are my priorities.